time to get into picks and bans for game number 1 between CJ Entus and Samsung. Soon as the players enter the lobby completely like a bolt of lightning. There we go. Nidalee, the first ban from CJ. That going in against Ambition. No big surprise there.
And there's the Zed ban. So common against BDD. And if Crown wants to take LeBlanc, I don't think they want to take the skill matchup. Zed has a slight advantage in that matchup, so they could always last pick the LeBlanc, of course, which has been that Crown staple this season, and he's had really, really good games on it.
Yeah, Gangplank ban coming in from CJ as well, just not wanting to deal with that. And there's a Poppy ban. Interesting. I mean, Untara's had some pretty good Poppy
really
games,
good.
but yeah, still.
So I hope what we see from Samsung this time, against KT, they picked like Ezreal, Poppy, LeBlanc, where they had very low early wave clear, and that was a huge problem for them. So I hope we see a more balanced composition this game. Samsung probably had a look at those losses, which were pretty convincing in KT's favor, and hopefully they have made the necessary adjustments. Alessandra, of course, the typical ban against Cuvee.
Yep. And one more from Samsung. They're going to take the Bard away from Madlife after Madlife's recent Bard performances. Not a huge surprise there, but, you know, again, Madlife has been carrying this team.
Yeah, and this is a team that really does play together. When we look at their kill contribution, one thing about BDD is he actually has the highest kill contribution of any starting player at 81.5%, and Madlife is right below him at a little over 79. So they have a huge amount of teamwork. This is a team that operates together very well.
Interesting to note, both of these teams are some of the lowest in terms of gold difference at 15 minutes.
Yeah, CJ doesn't do anything early.
Exactly, yeah, neither of these teams really do a whole lot early. They both concentrate on winning late. CJ likes to group up, do that famous CJ team fight. And Samsung has not been all that different. Looks like Alistar Nautilus locked in on the first rotation for Samsung.
Yeah, they're building up a heavy tank line because they know that Kramer is the primary carry of this team. So if they can get into the late game with some Thorn Mails, they'll be in a very good situation to handle him.
Yeah.
BDD may just try and blind pick an Azir here.
Now,
probably just going to be support and jungle right now. Bubbling has his choice. He tends to go for Elise when it is available.
Generally.
And we are patch 6.4, so Graves nerfs coming in just a little bit, and we'll see if Ambition still is going to favor that. Bubbling could go for the Kindred here. It would be a very... Bubbling has played it, but it hasn't been his best champion.
I think Trundle's not a bad pickup here for CJ. Certainly a lot of tanks to ult off of. Braum, okay, well, if they think they're going to face the Ezreal, you can do that too. Braum locked in. And it looks like it will be the Kindred as well.
So they're going to have to build some tanks now in the top and perhaps mid lane, although the Lissandra is out, a typical champion that you see paired with Kindred. They could play Azir and a top lane tank.
I think we're going to see maybe a Sivir come
Play
out
Azir Trundle
from Samsung. Sivir is extremely good right now.
Yes, Sivir is very, very strong. And the Lulu falling very far down the draft, but they're going to have to dig for damage here because the Nautilus cannot be flexed out of the top lane now. That the Alistar has already been selected, so you know it's a top lane Nautilus. And they may just put all of their eggs in the Stitch basket to be something that we typically don't see from Samsung. Oh, I do not like this. This is too much magic damage.
If they lock in that Corki. And I believe he got a little bit of a nerf in 6.4 too.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. They're going to go with it anyway. Lulu Corki, okay.
Wow, that is so bold against a composition that can survive the burst with the use of Lamb's Respite. And then also do incredibly well with either Banner of Command or... Yeah, Banner of Command. You build a couple banners on CJ for the split push, and there's no way that Samsung can actually clear these minions out.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what the last pick is going to end up being.
Yeah, Untara should definitely play Maokai or a top tank here.
Yep. See the new Meowkai skin that's coming out?
I haven't, but I heard about it.
Oh, jeez. It's something else. People wanted silly skins, right? Is certainly obliging.
Get the Meowkai out there.
That's right. Right now. And, well, Azir for BDD, he's played probably a little bit more Azir than anybody else so far.
Untara going back to what he was playing very early on in this season of Champions, perhaps, but they do need a top lane tank. Nautilus has already been picked. Lissandra's not available in the mid lane. The Poppy is gone. So Azir and Maokai will be the selections. So
Okay.
comfort pick, a bit of a pocket pick for Antara in this meta.
Yep, and final pick over to Samsung now.
I'm really surprised they didn't play the Trundle. Antara may not be as comfortable on that particular champion, but obviously that would be very strong against the top lane Nautilus. And the Graves would be no surprise here for Ambition, a champion that he has focused on very heavily in his farm style of early jungling that we've seen from him in 2016.
You know, it's interesting we see Untara play that Maokai so often, because if you think about CJ's other top laner, Shy, one of the things he was really good at before he sort of semi-retired, took a break, is getting into the back lines and really causing a lot of havoc with Maokai. And you can just see kind of Shy's hand on this budding top laner, kind of teaching him the ropes. How to be annoying with Maokai 101 by Shy. So are we actually going to see this Graves here? Yeah, we will. Okay.
All right, well, that does alleviate some of the problems that we could have had from a single damage type, but if this Graves starts falling behind, they still are going to have those exact same problems. It's going to take a while for the Graves to really get rolling in this game.
Hey man, League of Legends is like Pokemon. You can never rely on just one damage type. You got to switch it up.
That's right.
Yep. Got to catch them all.
But there's only 2 damage types.
That's true.
Well, there's also true damage, I guess.
True damage, so 3 damage types basically.
I guess. Yeah, but true damage is OP.
That beats everything.
It is.
It's not exactly rock, paper, scissors like grass, water, and fire, is it?
No, it's not.
No. All right. Well, still, it's good to have more than one damage type. That's the moral of the story, Monty.
It's scissors, paper, sledgehammer.
That's scissors, paper, golden gun from GoldenEye on N64. Or Moonraker laser. You can't.
Or also Golden Gun from The Man with the Golden Gun, the Bond movie.
That's true, but who
Which
knows
is actually
that
where that Golden Gun is from originally, not from GoldenEye.
Yeah, whatever. GoldenEye invented James Bond. I know. Pierce Brosnan, first James Bond ever. Well, there's the rosters for our first game, CJ versus Samsung. And a big match for both of these teams, a chance to either secure 4th place for Samsung or for CJ, a chance to move all the way up and take it away. We'll see which team has prep better, is ready to play better. BDD, his biggest challenge yet, coming into this matchup. And it is time for yours and my first match back since
Oh boy.
I am Katowice.
Our first BDD game.
Katowice, that's right, our first BDD game. We're back in action yet again. It's time, guys. CJ versus Samsung. Let's get in the game. All right, here we are, back on Summoner's Rift once again. Welcome back, guys. CJ Entus versus Samsung. And like we mentioned before the intro, just a really important match for both of these teams. Really a chance to cement themselves as one of the top teams in Korea right now. You know, we're into the second round robin. Playoff spots are on the minds for all these teams, and they want to lock those down as fast as they can.
And obviously, we've been seeing a lot more Devourer Kindred on 6.4.
Right.
It's definitely been quite a strong build, especially since the Rift Herald stacks have not been nerfed yet. So you still can get 5 of those stacks every time you kill the Rift Herald, and that is just wonderful for stacking up to your Sated Devourer. Helps you get it that much faster if you can control either the Dragon or the Herald. You do have options depending on which side of the map you're on.
True enough.
So Samsung here going to switch it up. They don't want to be in the Callista Braum lane for very good reasons of not getting wrecked. And so they're going to swap it up, get a little bit of a recall there, and find themselves all the way back up in that top side. So we will be seeing a lane swap in this game. There's BDD.
That's BDD, yep. I knew it all along. Mad Life.
Yep.
And Kramer being annoying over on the other side of the map, doing a lot of damage to Ambition. They're like, hey, remember us, we're CJ, we're your old teammates. Ambition goes back into fight, wow. Kuve coming there to block a bit for his jungler. Kramer a bit on his own. They smite the wolf away. Kramer took a lot of damage there.
I mean, both jungle sides took a lot of damage, so a bit greedy there, starting on the weak side, especially for Samsung. That's a bit surprising because they did actually know that they were initiating the lane swap, so they tried to start conservatively, tried to start at Wolves. Meanwhile, the Gromp start was for the other side.
Right. So BDD
for
versus
CJ,
Crown.
a little more excusable in that situation, and yeah,
BDD is really the only one who plays the Azir right now, isn't he? It's interesting.
Yeah, we've seen it some in other regions as of late, I think as a result of BDD playing it. I mean, Azir is still good if you have the mechanics and you know his all-in abilities. And I think that's what's been so impressive about BDD is that he has very successfully all-in the back line, but it is hard to know exactly when you can't go in. You have to have a very good mind for cooldowns and knowing about their summoner spells and if you can kind of one-shot the AD carry, but he's been good on it so far. It's been his most impressive champion to date.
Well, Azir is just one of those champions that we've seen in the past where it's just, you're an Azir player or you're not an Azir player. There's really no in-between. There's nobody who's like, yeah, I guess I'll just play Azir. You have to be good at this guy to play him at the pro level. Looks like we're going to see a good old-fashioned normal lane swap.
Yeah, but this is a little weird from CJ. They were actually cutting the minion wave down at the bottom side instead of attacking the turret. So they were trying to farm up right there, and I'm not sure how long this is going to delay them, if at all. We haven't seen that bottom side turret yet, but nope, they're okay. They got there a little bit faster.
Yep. Should be able to kill it just fine. There it goes.
So it looks like they knew they were ahead, and so they were just trying to cut out the minion wave right there. That gave it a better bounce back, actually. But it'll be all about the same when everything is said and done.
Yep.
And we are going to see the swap back. I'm a bit surprised that CJ doesn't just want to recall and then swap back into the bottom side of the map and try and get the 2v2 that they want, instead of just possibly giving up that free dragon.
Vision steals away the Gromp from CJ.
Kramer's up here alone too. Look at Mad Life. He's on a big roam around the back side. So they're going to try and make a play right here, but Cuvée...
Cuvée going down the river for just a second. That may cost him. Taking a lot of damage. Has to flash. CJ more than satisfied to take that summoner spell away.
Yeah, probably not going to be the biggest deal.
Yeah.
Splash. We'll see if that does come back to haunt him. Cuvée did get denied some more CS as Untara had a little bit more time to trim that minion wave. And
well, you know, Nautilus is kind of a ghost, so he's kind of always coming back to haunt everybody, basically.
Is he a ghost?
Yeah, I think he's like he's a ghost in like this.
He's a sea ghost?
This armor. Well, I mean, the lore goes, Monte Cristo, that he was some sailor and he was like trapped under the sea when his ship sank or something like that, and then like he comes back and land. He's like, oh, I'm this horrible thing trapped in the suit. Am I alive or dead? And
why is he so big?
I don't know. Maybe he was just that big in real life.
I don't think he was. He's like bigger than. Look how big Braum is. He's twice the size of Braum. What kind of sailor is he?
Some people are a big sailor. I don't know. They had a very buoyant boat. He's not that big. He's only the same size as Alistar.
Alistar's a Minotaur.
Actually, he's smaller than Alistar because you figure the guy in the suit is, doesn't take up that entire space.
Look how small Braum is, though.
Braum's a pretty small guy when you think about it.
Maybe he's just a really short, really muscular guy. He's trying to compensate.
He's got short man's complex.
He does.
That's what we're finding out about
right now.
Braum the dwarf. That's what we're finding out right now. I mean, clearly, because Tristana's bigger than he is, so is Poppy. All right, well, Rift Herald taken by CJ.
Poppy has a freakishly large head. Have you ever considered what it would be like to meet a Yordle in real life where their head is like the size of their torso?
Bigger.
Yeah, that's really messed up.
Yeah, dude. I don't know. You'd think there'd be a lot of balance issues going on there.
Yeah, I think they just like fall over.
Yeah, constantly. Especially with a big hammer. Yordles must be masters of balance. So you see Samsung take the first dragon. And everybody's got the outer turrets down and top and bottom. A pretty normal game. But the question is, in a race of who's always behind in 15 minutes, who can be the most behind?
Well, somebody has to be ahead, Doa.
I know.
That's what we're going to learn today.
I don't think either team wants to. They're like, we have a reputation to uphold. Excuse me.
Untara has gotten the much better end of this lane swap, though. Yeah. He's 2 levels up over Cuvée. The wave bouncing has been in his favor. He did get the better bounce as a result of that lane cutting that we saw in the earlier part of this game. And now we'll see what Cuvée can do. The wave is inexorably pushing back towards him, but they're not even going to swap him into that lane. They're actually just going to go back to a 2v1. They really, really don't want to put this Corki in the lane. They can't put Corki solo up in top side. However, Cuvée is going to have an increasing number of issues as this game progresses, just based on this current lane assignment. There was a way here to sort of get him back into this one, but instead the Corki goes solo up top. And now Bubbling has an opportunity to invade the bottom side jungle.
I mean, Samsung just kind of continuing priority. Well, Mad Life taking a lot of turret hits there. Samsung just continuing priority on their mid laner and AD carry, I suppose, but they kind of left Cuvée out to dry, yeah. And he needs to be careful here. Okay, here comes Crown and Wraith. CJ, have they pushed too far? Mad Life very, very low. Wild Growth used on Cuvée for the knockup. Kramer gets low. There's a Whimsy. Gets away. Summoner heal. Pop Kindred ult. Keeps him alive. And CJ just trying to disengage without losing anybody. Nice dodge by Cuvée. Dodging that Q coming out of Dwarf Braum. And it looks like no kill so far. And Samsung keeps their turret alive.
Untara had to cancel his TP, though, as they went into that fight because Crown showed up rather unexpectedly into that bottom side. He's been able to keep the pressure advantage in this game, although now that BDD is getting some more attack speed, it might just even out. And Maokai, oh man, this is so weird. They're swapping Maokai now down into this bottom lane to 1v1 versus Cuvée instead of continuing to put on the pressure and just having Cuvée catch this big wave.
Maybe they feel like Tar's strong enough with 2 Doran's rings and a Catalyst, and Cuvée just doesn't have a lot.
This is also just typical of CJ's playstyle, which is Kramer gets all the money.
True.
And that's just unequivocally, he has the highest percentage of gold of any player in this league.
It's true. Kramer is kind of like the collective Tamagotchi of the rest of the CJ players that they're just trying to feed and keep alive. Wow. Oops. Oh, BDD tries to go in, misses the ult onto Crown. Mad Life right there anyway. They can still pop that passive, but here comes Wraith to break this one up. Ambition's there anyway,
no
so you're just going to have to back away. Yeah, BDD in a big trouble, has the flash exhaust used. That's going to be first blood, goes over to Ambition. And now Samsung looking for more. I don't know if they can get any, though. They're going to have to back away.
Okay, so that was a really questionable play from CJ, not only because they continued fighting after the ultimate missed, but because they knew that Corki was on this top side of the map, and they were trying to fight in what could have been an even matchup. Meanwhile, Crown still holding on to this point with that wild growth, so the gank sort of goes awry as they get overly aggressive. They also didn't have any deep wards into the topside jungle of Samsung, so they couldn't possibly know who was coming. All their wards had already been dropped into the bottom side, so just a sloppy, visionless play there from CJ Entus.
Oh, we talked too about BDD knowing his limits. Whoa, Crown stopped up there. But here comes Ambition. Untara pops the ultimate right away. Knockup from Wild Growth comes in. Untara trying to make it out, uses that flash, but there's a kill for Crown. Untara, what were you thinking, man?
Yeah, he
no vision there.
He should have known that the Wild Growth was still up and that collateral damage was up also. So some really sloppy plays from CJ early on. They're really just negating the advantage they had. Look how much farm that Cuvé's been able to get in the bottom lane throughout all of this.
Yeah, I mean,
and there's no one down there to collect the farm right now. There's a huge wave about to hit that turret, and that means Untara is going to lose a lot of the potential he would have to get an edge again. Meanwhile, Ambition has just been on a farming mission. Holy moly. 25 CS up.
And funny enough, as we see Mad Life in a little bit of trouble now, puts up the shield. Kramer there. Can always pull him out with Fate's Call if things get too bad, but Ambition, finally the one taking the first blood instead of giving it to other people, especially against your former team. You don't want to do that.
Yeah. CJ, though, did still get an advantage on Kramer. They have the Cull, they have the CS lead on the Callista, but just really surprising. Why would you do that when you just want to scale and try and negate their composition? You have far more threats than they do, I think, with the Azir and the Callista and the Kindred in the late game. Meanwhile, it's pretty easy just to build some magic resist and some Banner of Command, because Samsung has literally no answer to Banner of Command. If you start using those items and you happen to get a Baron, the game is just over.
Well, no sign of anybody building towards it just yet.
Well, it'll have to be Braum, right?
You think so?
Or perhaps Untara, but not the best early item onto Maokai. And it will be actually a Hurricane first here for Kramer, so they're just concerned with wave clear. They're looking for that late game power.
Well, sounds like CJ. 30 seconds until the next dragon is up. See if Samsung can secure that. Well, Fate's Call used. They get the knockup onto Ambition. He's in trouble. There's the passive. There's the stun. CJ bringing the teleport as well. Wild Growth keeps Ambition okay, though.
Another cancel teleport from Untara. Not going in. They're still going to try and collapse on them here if Samsung overstays their welcome. Dragon up in 10 seconds. Well, no Fate's Call and no wild growth for this next fight.
I mean, CJ has been able to force Samsung off of the Dragon for the moment anyway, but like you said, yeah, without those summoners, how do you fight this?
It's Corki in the top lane. They should easily be able to push this advantage onto Dragon.
No, they'll recall instead.
Well, they shouldn't do that.
Well, go and tell them.
Why is it always my job to tell the players?
I don't know. Why do they never listen?
They're just going to give it up. I mean,
I
they
guess
recall and give Kramer more farm. All right, CJ.
I don't know
This
about
is how
this.
you want to play League of Legends, so be it.
Well, I mean, they really want to be behind at 15 minutes. You know, that's the goal, right?
And
Anything
then
to
win
be
with a
behind at
Kramer
15.
hard carry, no matter what.
That's the
No
CJ
one
way,
gets
man.
farm except for Kramer.
That's how CJ does it. And they're succeeding. They are 1,000 gold behind Samsung right now. So mission semi-accomplished by CJ.
Usually they're only 653 gold behind it 15 minutes, which is still, by the way, second worst in the league.
Yeah.
Of course, behind just Spenu.
I mean, Samsung is 4th worst in the league. So there's not a,
Well,
not a
that's,
huge
that's pretty
difference.
average, though, right?
Negative 500?
Well, 4 to 6 place. I mean, somebody has to be hurt, obviously, in the standings.
I guess. But negative 500 and negative 600 is a big difference from like the top 4, you know?
Yeah. Well, Ambition's farm success in the early game is going to be very relevant because they really needed him to get items to be the primary attack damage threat on this team. Of course, Corki, if he gets an auto range, will do a wonderful job, but they've got to dimensionalize their damage types, and that is the extra dimension with another 25 CS. We're not going to see a Devour this game either, Upland going for that Warrior enchant, but with how farm-heavy things have been, probably... Wait, is that a Devour? I can't actually see. It's tiny. I think it is Devour. Let's take a look at Kindred next time. Is there a dog next to Kindred? Yes, no?
It is super tiny.
It's like 1 pixel of color, and on a red background, it's super hard to tell what it is.
It's really, we've got like, that was one
Yes,
thing.
there is. It is Devour. Okay.
All right. That is one thing I like about IEM is they have much bigger monitors for us.
What, you don't like 13-inch monitors to cast off of, Doha?
You could fit 2 of our monitors in one of their monitors.
In terms of surface area, probably.
It is challenging, yeah.
But the dog tells us. The dog is the clue.
Yep.
Devour clue. So I'm glad to see that.
Right. You gotta feed the dog. CJ having a little bit of trouble defending the mid lane turret. But they're gonna lose that one.
How do you think Wolf feels about Kindred bringing another dog into the equation?
I mean, he probably feels like, oh, look at this domesticated loser. I'm a wild wolf of death. Not some useless man beast.
Is that your projection of Wolf's?
That's right. I think it was pretty good. I think I encapsulated his feelings accurately. He's upset.
Oh, well, banner is actually going to be taken by Cube first here.
Wow. All right. I mean, we've seen a lot of banners on Nautiluses, but
it's of course good if he's going to be laning against Maokai too. But those aren't going to be the main damage-dealing threats in the team fights that occur.
yeah.
But Maokai is going to have a really hard time actually stopping a banner Canada minion. It means they are going to have to swap Kramer into that lane. At least if you try and put it in a side lane, Stitch can be there. See the mid-turret. Sun Disc falling. Tower advantage.
Just
Going over
really,
to Samsung.
it really doesn't seem like Utara is going to go for this banner at all this game. Mad Life as well.
It's okay.
It's not looking likely.
Cuve's our banner hero, although he put it in a lane and now Kramer has been assigned to that top side. But they're still gonna put some pressure down. Kramer is afraid of walking that far in, of course. He sees ambition.
I would be too.
With the Sentinel.
Yeah. Oh, Rift Herald. It's back up. Are we actually going to see a fight over the Rift Herald? Nah. Maybe. Oh, teleport coming in. We are. Okay, CJ wants to fight this one. Utara immediately running away, though, after TPing in BDD, looking for an angle to come in. Make a play, but not really finding one yet. There we go. Utara flashing in. Big wild growth. They get the knockup. Knockup's coming in from the side of Samsung as well. And Samsung's looking pretty good in this one. Kindred ult goes down. Stitch on the outside. Crown not opposed at all. Kramer gets the first kill. CJ is going to be able to maybe turn this one around. The Wrench should take out Wraith. It does. There's a double for Kramer. Here comes BDD for the big ult, and CJ manages to take this team fight. That is an ace. near perfect, only losing Antara. Wow, from the way that one started, I did not think CJ was going to turn it around.
No, but BDD had the big ult play right there, and the Kindred ult kiting on top of it got them enough HP. Let's take a look at where Kramer is in this fight. Remember, he just got a Hex Drinker too, so he's got a little bit more survivability against the mostly magic damage team that Samsung is running. So he's just hopping, getting all those Hurricane stacks down, doing a very good job of staying close so he can still get as many stacks as possible. We'll watch BDD here. What a great ultimate. Buys more time for Kramer and Bubbling to auto-attack Crown, the last man left standing, and BDD is showing up with Kramer in that fight. Excellent positioning from both of them. But yes, he got, so let's talk about this. Right before that fight, Kramer bought Hex Drinker and Vamp Scepter. Goodbye, Bubbling.
Yep. Nope.
Oh.
He tried.
He should not have flashed for that. But
we also did see Kramer have to burn his flash right before the replay came back too. Got teleported on. Actually, Crown tried to make a TP play to chase out Kramer, but they got the flash, didn't get the kill though.
Yeah, but that was such a crucial buy. Of course, Samsung's most of their early power is coming in the form of this AP, and with that Hex Drinker, he was able to get a little bit of extra survivability, and the lifesteal tanking too, with the coupled with the Hurricane. Excellent. So CJ, I thought they were dead though. I agree with you, but they really turned that one around nicely.
Well, Wraith had just a great engage, but the damage just barely wasn't high enough coming out of Samsung to finish people off quickly enough. I mean, we talked about this before, but the burst from Corki just didn't quite do it that fight.
Well, look at the items. And they had I believe they had Abyssal during that fight onto BDD. Antara has the Cowl, so they've got the items they need to succeed in these early team fights.
Well, the thing you kind of worry about if you're Samsung too is it really going to get much better than that?
It's a concern, but the Graves is still farming well. And also, we can talk about that ace, but at the end of the day, it's still a 600 gold difference in this game, and there's a dragon advantage for Samsung. They have that Banner of Command pushing up too.
Still even turrets. I mean, Samsung does have the dragon edge right now, and they're just trying to chase CJ away.
The problem is Kramer has all the money, and this Callista is going to get very powerful with so much protection from the rest of the team. You know, one wonders, this Kindred was taken very early by CJ in the draft, but Samsung backed themselves into a corner by taking the Corki and Lulu after the Kindred had been selected, because that meant they couldn't take Gragas against Kindred, and Gragas would have made that fight very different, but it also would have put them over in terms of magic damage, put them too heavy in that regard. So I feel like Samsung sort of drafted themselves into a corner.
I'll see if they can fight their way out of a corner this time. Wraith goes in for the engage. CJ, oh, actually, no. Samsung does take the Dragon away. Bubbling, trapped on the side of the fight. CJ separated, but they're coming back in. Look at that Kramer, almost untouched. Wild Growth used on Wraith. He's so tanky, they choose him to chase. Meanwhile, double kill for Ambition. Samsung trying to get their team fight win, and they will get it. CJ tunneled so hard on Wraith that it let Samsung come in and do the rest. Kramer on the run now in this 1v4. That's a lot of minions to deal with. Ambition coming in, doesn't want to fight a 1v1.
Wow,
Hook misses from Kuve. Kramer does so much damage. Look at that, nearly takes down Stitch before finally falling to Samsung himself. And yeah, that was a win for Samsung, but
Ambition did so much work in that fight.
Yeah, he did.
And he's the one who had to do it. They've itemized 4 magic resist, which means, of course, we see the Spirit Visage, the Hex Drinker, 2 Hex Drinkers now with Kindred. So he's the one who has to be the hero right here. He has to get off a lot of damage. And he corners Bubbling in the pit, just takes him out. Flam's Respite goes down, but Bubbling is quickly fell after this little engagement, and then he can turn on to the rest of the team. And they try and kill, of course, an ulting Cow. That's not going to be too effective if you are Samsung. And Ambition just dashing over the wall there with a quick draw and taking out Kramer, helping to. Kramer gets the Hex Drinker proc, and he's trying to use these minions to lifesteal and get a little bit more away. Nice dodge on the hook, but unfortunately for him, Stitches uses his last little bit of mana to Falcon forward and take him down.
Well, it really seems like, too, that CJ tried a little bit too hard to chase after Wraith. It kind of gave Samsung the chance they needed to back off, regroup, and then come forward again.
And now CJ's in the unenviable position now that Ambition has 5 kills, where they actually are going to have to itemize into armor. And he's going to be really hard to kill. He's working towards that Sterix gauge. He's already got the Maw of Malmortius, so Bubbling and Kramer have a lot of work to do to take him out.
Yep, very true. And the fact that Ambition was able to come in and take that dragon during the start of that fight too, I mean, he's my MVP so far.
Yeah, he out-farmed his opponent in the early game, just ripped through the jungle, and now he is the threat that he absolutely had to be on this team, and he is the one who actually has to go down and kill this banner minion.
Whoa, big engage coming in from CJ. They're going to try it. Wraith with the counter engage. Fate's call comes in. They get on the ground. Easy kill there for CJ. Utara onto Stitch in the back lines. Gets him in a great spot for CJ to take him down without any problem. And just like that, could be Baron time for CJ. They might let Wraith go. Yeah, not worth it when you can grab that Baron. Both carries on the way for Samsung. Let's see how disruptive the rest of the team can be. That Baron's still not going to die too fast, but they do have Callista. Utara taking damage, going to the backline. BDD
Kramer
onto Wraith right now. Kramer trying to stay alive, but he's so low. Lamb's Respite doing work. Kramer getting lots of damage done and turning right back onto the Baron. That is going to be a Baron and basically an ace. Well, definitely an ace for CJ. And Kindredalt really helped out there.
Yeah, Ambition. He went into the bottom side of the map to help push in that situation. And because he was all the way across the map, CJ decided that they were just going to go all in.
Yep.
And try and take a Baron as a result, and they managed to get it. So that time, the main damage threat, they realized, oh right, we have the items to deal with the rest of these jokers, so let's just go for it. I mean, why is Graves down there right now? He can't be the one split pushing at this point in time. And Samsung, they have TP up on their top laner, but they don't actually go in, and they just catch out Stitch, and Tara gets the root at the back, and that combined with, of course, the Braum passive makes an easy kill. BDD moving on forward right here, and then they decide, to hell with it, let's just go for this Baron. And then they turn. So not going to commit to that. We see, of course, the Nautilus ults on Kramer. They try and combo him down, but the Lamb's Respite is still up. Kramer's able to stay right on the edge of it while constantly auto-attacking with all that lifesteal he's got.
And the exhaust onto Ambition helped a lot there too. And this is how CJ wins games, guys. They just find that team fight. They find that opportunity in the late game, behind or not, and try to push it forward. So we'll see what they can get out of this.
Samsung made a very large error. They had two TPs. Why is Ambition the one assigned to the bottom lane where CJ knows that if they can actually take a fight, and they have no shortage of engage. Fate's Call, Azir ultimate, Flash Twisted Advance like we saw from Utara. They could just go for these fights, and they are perfectly itemized to take them right now.
Seems that way. Going for the bottom lane after taking out the mid lane tier 2. And Samsung, suddenly a 5K deficit for them.
I'm a bit sad that Mad Life went Locket instead of Banner. Banner is definitely the stronger choice for the siege that they have right now, and Tara's going to, I guess, auto-attack this minion extremely slowly.
It's going to take a while. It's like watching Vladimir kill a minion like that.
That was funny at IEM.
Oh yeah. Takes a little while. Alright, Samsung pushing their lanes out as much as they can. Dragon up in 25 seconds, and Dragon sacks are really what Samsung has going for them right now. They've got 3. If they can get 4, they can keep a lot of pressure on, but yeah, they need to win this next fight, or the game is pretty much over.
Well, there's a Randuin's now into Cuvée, and BDD, he's going for a little bit of a tankier build this time onto the Azir, so he won't have quite as much damage as many Azirs would, especially from long range when he's outside of the Abyssal range, because I'm pretty sure his Sand Soldiers don't increase that range, it's just around him. So his poke, not going to have that extra MR reduction.
Makes sense. And are we going to see a TP? Yes, we are. Tara coming in from the side, going the long way around, I guess, while CJ goes for Dragon. It's interesting.
Well, they wanted to TP in and see if they could force a team fight, but in any case, zoning them off the 4th Dragon is the most important objective here.
Yeah, getting that Dragon slows down Samsung to the point with that 5th Dragon that it's going to be really hard to get that this game.
Yeah, because if Samsung gets that Dragon, and it's worth just using a TP for it, then when the next Baron comes up, you may be in a really difficult decision-making situation where you have to give up the 5th Dragon in order to take the Baron if you're CJ. Might as well just go ahead and burn your TP for it if you have to.
Yeah.
Even though they're down now 2 TPs to 0. And they didn't get an inhibitor with the Baron buff, so they can't really apply a lot of pressure right now. Samsung could attempt to make some plays, but Crown really hasn't been in a side lane all game, which is very odd.
It is strange that they have 2 TPs, but yet they're not really sending either of their solo laners to split push that much.
We're not seeing the best play from Samsung on the map right now, to be sure.
Yep. CJ, definitely some questionable decisions coming out of them too earlier in the game, but as usual, they tend to have the slightly superior team fight, it seems like.
Look, if they can get Untara ahead and then feed all the rest of the farm to Kramer because they think that he's going to be the one to carry them in the late game, I can't really fault them. Do I think that they could have shut down the farm better on Samsung? Absolutely, but if that's how they want to play League of Legends and it's going to be successful, it's hard to argue with it.
I can argue with it.
Well, argue
more
then.
Kills. I will. It's boring. It's not as exciting. Pick comps all day, every day. That's what I want.
There have been a lot of kills this game. 19 and 28 minutes.
It's been adequate. It's okay.
Doa's bloodometer.
That's right. Bloodometer.
Or bloodometer, depending on what
Bloodometer. That's true. And if you use the Queen's English. You say tomato, I say tomato. Say lorry, I say, I don't know, whatever that is in English.
Bus?
Taxi.
Bus.
Bus? Yeah. There you go. I've only been to London once. That was just for Worlds last year.
It shows.
It shows. Oh, shame on me. Goodness. I went to museums. I'm cultured.
This sounds like a great defense you got going here, Noah.
Thank you. I thought so too.
How many people can he fool? We'll
Thousands,
find out.
apparently. I don't know. We're still, the number grows. Oh, there's a banner of Command Minion versus Maokai's auto attack again.
It's alright, it's not a cannon minion. It was nearly dead anyway, so the push not going to be too successful. Meanwhile, Intara nearly has his teleport back up. So next, Baron up in about 35 seconds. That means that it's time for CJ to start fighting again.
Ah, yes. Samsung, the thing is, Ambition should be able to tell Samsung exactly what is going on here. He's like, all right, I've been on this team forever. I've been on CJ forever. They're just going to do whatever in the early game. They're just going to fight.
Ooh. We don't see actually enough.
Pick up the package.
Kramer to get the maw.
Grab the package. Yes, take it.
There he goes.
Enjoy the package.
Stitch the package grabber. Grabbing the package.
Carry it with you. All right, well.
Not a lot of pink wards because Kramer refuses to sell his Doran's Blade for another pink.
You know, you need that that hit point. You need that little bit of sustain, you know, at 30 minutes into the game that the Doran's Blade gives you.
3% green.
I'm telling you, man, it's the sentimental value. Doran sold them that blade at a reduced rate at the beginning of the game.
It's because it was crap, Doa.
No,
it's not a deal if you buy crap for cheap.
No, we go back to the Pokemon analogy with this one. Basically, Doran is like Professor Oak, and he gives you a weapon to start your quest with instead of Pokemon. CJ going for this Baron. Let's see if they can get the second one.
That Pokemon changes into something good.
That's a good point. CJ turning off the Baron. Untara coming into the DB. Whoa! He follows the package. Gets into the back lines big time. Mad Life with the Braum ultimate there. Wild growth onto Untara to keep him alive. Nice engage by Mad Life. That was sick, man. And CJ all over Samsung right now. The damage is intense coming out of Kramer and BDD. And nobody can stop this Azir, this Callista. CJ is looking like they want to win the game.
Wow, that Callista damage was crazy, but Samsung, they backed up into a choke point where they could get hit by the Fate's Call, and then Kramer was just impaling absolutely everybody in that engagement, and that's just going to be the end of the game.
Yeah, I mean, they're not killing the turrets too fast, but it still should be enough time.
It's over. They have a minion wave.
Yeah, 20 seconds left, plenty of time to take out these Nexus turrets, I suppose.
They have a Azir too, so he's able just to use his Q on the turrets.
Oh, that's a good point. And there it goes. So CJ manages to take game 1, but this could still be a close series. GG.
Just too much tankiness from the side of CJ.
I guess.
At the end there, with between the Rylais and, of course, the Sterix that we saw at the end, and the Maws of Malmortius, everything like that, the MR itemization was just on point.
Well, you know, if it works, right? Give Kramer farm, do whatever. Samsung looking like they had a couple bright moments in that game. A couple dragons, a couple good early kills. Ambition getting that first blood, but in the end, that CJ team fight, that damage coming out of Kramer's Kalista was just a bit too much, and I think we really saw what BDD gives CJ. You know, it gives him that solid second threat besides Kramer that we didn't see before.
And CJ's strength, team fighting.
Yeah.
They are so good at team fighting.
Definitely.
And they know when to team fight, which is what we saw in that game. Picking that, what we thought was maybe a questionable fight at Rift Herald, but they used the Kindred ult so well. And I think Samsung, they just have to get the draft right, because if they had a Gragas, it would have been a very different style of game.
Yeah, able to separate that CJ team, pick people off in small skirmishes. Seems like that's what you got to do. BDD still looking pretty solid.
Well, no, it's just Gragas gets rid of that stupid Kindred ult. Just gets everybody off it so you can actually kill them. That's the most important thing. But if they had drafted it, they would have been full magic damage. It would have been even worse. So Samsung, I think, perhaps you don't...
That's totally a "this is my life now" face right there. Poor Ambition.
No, he did well, but he did well.
That's why it hurts even worse, Monty. Well, when we come back, guys, CJ versus Samsung game number 2. We'll see if CJ can lock it up. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.